For plebs, by plebs, dropping the Bitcoin only signal. Pleb Underground. Welcome everyone to the Pleb Underground.
Episode 24, Pleb Underground here again. Walton, Phil with another internet friend. We endure the bear. We know we can handle the tough times ahead until a yearly green candle. The investment case is clear. Green candles right here. Avoid trading. F the drama. Stay humble. Stack sats. You know you'll be calmer. Don't be a sellout. It's not good for your karma. I'm not a Kaiser, not a king. Not going to intrude on your privacy like Ring. See, I don't have that predilection like Max to make that same prediction. Difficult times, but 220k still in Plano. I'm here making rhymes like D-Dubs, Dizzy, and Kano. Some say TAs like horoscopes for men. We all know anyone can draw a line with a pen. Welcome back, guys.
That's right, everyone. Welcome back to the Pleb Underground. Walton, that was a kick-ass rhyme, my dude. And joining us today, you heard it in the rhyme. That's right. We've got Brandon, or at greencandleit, and he is the host of State of Bitcoin and Macro Insights podcast. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us on the show, my dude. This is awesome.
Of course, guys. Of course. I'm pleasure to be here. I'm happy to get on. Walton, you were spitting some serious rhymes there, man. Maybe
I've been working.
Yeah, there we go.
These I don't know, like I these things come to me while I'm walking my dog, just two lines here and there, and they get added together. Sometimes it all gets done on the Friday. Sometimes bits come through the week.
There we go. Yeah. Straight off the dome.
I get to watch the genius at work. He sends me bits and pieces as he puts it together.
Yeah, like iterating. Yeah,
I love it
because I have to write it down, otherwise I'll forget it. Like it.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Without further ado, we are gonna dive right into the numbers.
Yeah, the numbers, of course, brought to us by timechainstats.com. And please also check out Timechain Calendar for a fantastic way to browse the time chain. Phil, what do the numbers look like this week?
At the time of this recording, the block height is 772,850. The Bitcoin price, 21,895. Total public Lightning capacity, 5,229.35 BTC. Moscow time, 4567. That is dropping quick. We were at 6K just a couple of weeks ago.
6K, and that's quite a percentage change from 6K to 4,500.
That's right. Indeed it is. And the chain rewrite days, 797. Guys, those are the numbers. I know. I think this week we're all kind of a little bit happier, right? Because Bitcoin not dead. Even though in all fairness, at 15K Bitcoin, wasn't dead either. So, but Brandon, what are your thoughts on this week's pump? We want to give people some hopium before we actually dive into the hopium.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, right, like you said, we're almost at 22K. I was surprised to hear that when you read it all, because I think last time I checked it, it was like just floating around 21. So I mean, seems like it's steadily increasing. I don't know what to really think about it. If it's if we've reached the bottom of the bear, if this is just like a little mini run up during this bear market. But I don't know. I mean, I think it just gives a little bit of like, the miners and some of the other Bitcoin companies some breathing room for now at the very least. So maybe some hopium that I guess we'll get into in a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm. I think it's very convenient that we have you on the show, and you are Green Candle on Twitter, and this last week has been a green candle. So maybe that's a sign.
Yeah, there we go. It's the green candle pump. That's hey, if you guys want to give me credit, I'm all for it.
You'll take it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So look,
we can't have him on every week.
Maybe we do. Maybe we can.
Guys, big Bitcoin shows out there. You need to have this guy on your show, because you've each got to take it as part of your responsibility to do your part for the green candle pump.
Exactly.
Have green candle on your show. Keep the pump alive.
Yeah, there we go. Pump it up.
Feel the pump.
All right. So look, speaking of pumps, let's take a look at a bit of a different type of pump. This is provided by Walton. Walton, thank you very much. Okay, let's take a look at this tweet. James Melville. While much of the attention has focused on energy prices, UK food prices have gone through the roof since 2021. This is the type of pump that we're not looking for. Wow, vegetable oil. Hey, look at that, huh? The seed oil, 65.2%. They're costing more and they're killing us faster. That's fantastic.
Absolutely ridiculous.
In
And
fairness,
honestly,
seed oil and vegetable oil is not necessarily the same thing. Like you can, I mean,
know.
like olive oil isn't the seed oil, but like, yeah.
Well, olive oil isn't the seed oil, that's true. But like canola oil, safflower oil,
Yeah.
right? Like,
But I mean, pasta too. Pasta's supposed to be one of those cheap things that you could just go buy at the store. It's like, you know, $1 or $2 or something. You make a quick meal. Maybe it's not the most healthy thing for you, but you know, it fills you up. And seeing that up 60%, I know. I mean, all these numbers
Right, even these cheap carbs. It's right. It's not just the meat and things that are going up. The cheap carbs that were meant to be like helping to gaslight the population about inflation, those are going up as well now.
Yeah, exactly. And I know like Twitter kind of had the popularity around the eggs. I don't know. I don't know if you guys saw that floating around, but I was seeing it in New York City. It was like $10 for a carton of eggs. And I mean, you know, that's alarming, of course, but seeing all these other prices, it's just like you said, Walton, it's all the carbs and just like bullshit foods that you really shouldn't like probably eat on a daily basis, but just meant to be like little cheap fillers. They're not so cheap anymore. So it's definitely kind of alarming to say the least.
I'm surprised that beef isn't on that list. How is that the highest stuff?
Probably
in
because that
beef?
gets censored. It probably gets sent.
Oh, it's too high.
Like it's not. You know, well, it's not getting bought anymore, right? Like it's too expensive now. People don't buy it, so we don't. It's like beef's out of the CPI because no one buys it. Like we just put televisions in there because those go down, right, or something like that. I don't know. Like it's nonsense. There is no bigger lie than CPI. Don't forget this, guys. There is no bigger lie than CPI. It's a tool used to gaslight you by central bankers and politicians. They're just trying to lie to you about inflation. It's way bigger. Like, fuck all of them. It's disgusting.
100%. And I don't think people understand that it compounds over year. So that 2%, you know, 30
Like,
years
look at those food prices. You tell me inflation's 10%? Fuck off. People are paying 50% more for like their their monthly necessities. Like, there's no fucking chance inflation is 10%. Like, normal people are probably, you know, have gone from maybe saving to no longer saving anything, and in some cases, you know, racking up personal credit. Like this, just wait. Like this is a mess.
Oh, 100%. And I think too that something that gets a lot like really lost in a lot of this is like, you know, like you said about people racking up debt is that, you know, a lot of Americans had student loan debt already, and that's been on pause since, you know, this COVID pandemic has happened. So people haven't had to make those payments in over 2 years. So, I mean, we're getting to the point now where it's like, all right, we're either going to keep pushing it, and that's going to be another kind of like hidden wave of inflation, or it's just people are just going to get kicked in the mouth and they're already living above their means, and they're going to have to start making these, you know, whether it's like $200 or $400 a month payments now to pay down student loans. So, I mean, I think not only like inflation just causing like all these costs, you know, we're seeing gas prices go higher, car prices go higher, and insurance prices go high. I mean, everything around us. And I think the one interesting thing I saw about that list that you guys were showing was that, you know, I didn't really see any, like you were saying, main staple foods. It was mostly just like, you know, there's carbs on the side. It wasn't any meat.
But that is main staple foods for many people, like because they don't eat. They think of carbs as being the center of a meal rather than meat. Like,
yeah,
again, gaslighting. Like,
there's people that eat Pop-Tarts for breakfast.
Gas goes up. The price of gaslighting goes up because the politicians and central bankers make more money too.
Oh, 100%. You know, I mean, and yeah, there was not any protein that was on that list at all. I mean, I think the healthiest thing that was on there was maybe tomatoes, is what
milk. I think there was milk on there, maybe.
Yeah, and like even then, it was like it's up more than 20%, which is outrageous.
It's only going to get it's only going to get worse, and the reality is that there is such poor information, such poor guidelines around how to eat properly, because all the narratives are all paid for and all the incentives have nothing to do with actually being healthy, and anyone spouting anything about balance or health just sounds insane. So It's anyways. Look, you know what? They're going to continue to ignore the like. I do find it strange that beef isn't there. Like I said before, they're going to continue to ignore the real staples. But to Walton, you know, like to Walton's point, you know, like people don't know how to eat. So this is how you can fool
might
people.
get censored anyway. They might go, oh no, beef is bad for the environment. We can't have beef in the table. Like,
well, didn't they say that?
ESG
like
friendly beef.
Yeah, didn't they say that like a
one day you'll only be able to buy beef with Bitcoin? Watch, like you heard it here first. One day.
You can now, right? With Texas Slim, the beef initiative, he's doing.
Yeah, they pretty already said that.
Yeah. So, but I mean, didn't like Senator Warren, I think, like a couple years ago, say that eating meat was bad for the environment because like cows fart a lot and that methane goes and kills the atmosphere or some crazy shit like that.
Well, no, like methane is meant to be is a very potent greenhouse gas. Like again, so the bonds in chemical molecules absorb and re-emit certain frequencies of electromagnetic waves depending on the length of the bond. So certain bonds of certain lengths will absorb particular frequencies of infrared radiation and then re-emit it back to Earth. Like that's reasonable. But the thing is that most climate change, most of the greenhouse effect, this effect of the re-emission of infrared radiation back to Earth from these gases, most of it is from water vapor. And hey, you can't really control how much of the seas evaporate, guys.
That's true.
So
don't give them a challenge,
yes,
Walton.
Carbon dioxide, yes. Methane. These are more potent greenhouse gases. But at the end of the day, you can't control how much water's evaporating. The effect of these little things is so negligible compared to how much water vapor there is, and how much that drives it.
Klaus Schwab is like, hold my beer. That's next year. That's it, man. World Economic Forum 2024. How to stop the evaporation from the oceans. And we're definitely going to have we're going to have to eat bugs to do this.
Isn't it cyber terrorism next? Like I forget the order.
Well,
like
that's on the way there, but you just gave them a new idea. They're like, wait a second. They're like, this is so much cheaper than cyber terrorism. I'm like, you know, like they can get away with this so much easier. Come on.
I'm kind of looking forward to the friggin' sharks with friggin' lasers on their friggin' heads stage, to be honest. Like whenever that's
Don't forget the dolphins. Dolphins are extremely intelligent. Wade, I forget. I do apologize. There's a fellow Bitcoiner that wrote back on one of my threads this week about that. But yes, that's exactly it. What happens when the dolphins learn about Bitcoin? That's the real fear. That is maybe the real big boss.
It's an interesting idea.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they're gonna start a full on, I
mean, then maybe they won't be as shit as the Patriots. Like there is that. Like I get, you know.
They'll be the real pleb underground then, right? Because they're like under the ground, they're in water. So I mean, they might be coming for your guys' job. Who knows?
You know what? I'd like to see them do a show. I'd watch that. I'd watch the Dolphins talk about Bitcoin.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
We're moving on. We're moving on to the next numbers thing.
Bitcoin.
Oh God. Just wait. Someone's gonna want to come up with some type of a shit coin that is inclusive to the dolphins. We need the dolphins in the ecosystem.
Dolphin coin.
Dolphin coin. That's right.
It's ultrasonic. Ultrasonic money. Wait. Yeah, instead of ultrasound money, they're going to call it ultrasonic money. Dolphin coin.
There we go.
Oh, that's awful. Speaking of scams, sorry, what's up, Brandon?
You said you guys got to copyright that now.
That's right.
No, fuck that. Like this is I probably could help like shitcoiners with their marketing, but fuck that. I'd never fucking doing any shitcoin. Like fuck all of that. Fuck shitcoins. Fuck shitcoins.com. Check it out. Phil, what we got here?
We need a watermark. We need to watermark this type of stuff. Okay, so check this out. This is a pretty interesting one. Speaking of scams, right? This is a very interesting graph. There you go at Why Bitcoin Only. Hope it helps. And indeed it does. The percentage of altcoins you realize are scams, okay? And on this axis, amount of time spent in crypto. But really,
yeah, see, the trick is to not spend any time in crypto
Bingo.
and just go straight to Bitcoin, and then you don't have to do this nonsense.
But
Guys,
unfortunately,
learn from other people. Learn from other people. You don't have to make all the same mistakes as everyone else.
You don't. And that's what's great about these charts. And that's why I appreciate people putting these together, because sadly, the majority of people group Bitcoin into crypto. And let's just go through the different stages here. Some altcoins are scams. Okay, a lot of them are scams. All of them are scams, except for a few. I remember that's actually around the time when I started my podcast on Bitcoin, when I was in this part of the journey. All of them are scams except for a few. And I was like, we need to learn about this tech. It's important. One of these smart contract ones has to make it, right? And damn it, the maxis were right. And let me tell you something. When you get to that final stage right up there, when you're at the damn it, maxis are right, at that moment, it's like the light just goes on and you can't get rid. If you still have shit coins, you can't get rid of them soon enough. Anyways, besides, Walton, you're absolutely right that the fact that it says crypto on that chart is awful. But what else? What else are your thoughts on this?
That's how I feel about fiat. To be honest, the can't get rid of shit coins fast enough. You feel like that, yeah. With your own fiat, it's like really annoying. Like I have to pay a fucking tax bill soon, and like I'm having to accrue some fiat over the last month or two, to then. I'm like, no, I don't like it building up. To have to, it's gross. It really I try to keep my bank balances not basically net zero. I try not to hold fiat because it kind of grosses me out. But yeah, it's horrible accruing fiat.
Yeah,
for anything.
I agree 100%. I'm trying to stack as much as possible, but I think, everybody kind of early on their journey is really crypto curious, as I guess what I'll call it. But I agree with you, Walton. I think if everybody could just go straight to Bitcoin, it would be a perfect world. But at the same time, we have crypto in the news, and I think a lot of these news outlets and other places, they group, like you said, Bitcoin with crypto. So, to the average Joe on the street, most of them would probably categorize them the same, unfortunately. But yeah, if they know a maxi like us here, or maybe some other maxis on Twitter or whatever, hopefully they point them in the right direction. But I think for the most part, a lot of people just kind of get into crypto kind of on their own, and maybe don't really ask anybody about it at first. Maybe they try to keep it under wraps, and then at the last point with it's the maxis are right. I think that's becoming more and more true, just because of all of the exchanges that shut off withdrawals, that it's all right, oh shit, I should have had all my shit in the cold storage by now. The maxis were telling me to do this years ago, XYZ. But, I think a lot of people kind of have to go through that and maybe get wrecked, unfortunately, to become Bitcoin maxis. And that, at least that's what I've noticed. I'm hoping that trend changes, but I think definitely during this last bull market, that was kind of the path to Bitcoin maximalism.
Every bear and bull market brings more Bitcoin maximalists. I think this might even be a hodl a not tweet from 3 years ago, Space Cat, for the people who don't know. Don't forget to support him, right? Defending BTC.
Yeah, this sort of time last cycle is when I started buying Bitcoin for the first time. Or maybe it was a bit before. I don't know. It went down afterwards. Every time you buy Bitcoin, it drops in price. I mean, not just because you're not. I don't mean because you're a whale and there's slippage. I mean just that's just what happens, right? You buy some Bitcoin and then it drops 10%. You're like, I could have bought a bit more. Fuck's sake.
Essentially, what happens is that more, a lot of these shitcoiners get horribly wrecked, and a large percentage of them never come back, right? They just crypto is a scam, never being able to get to the point where they figure out there's Bitcoin and shitcoin, and they walk away in failure, which is perfectly fine. That's to each their own. But then there's a small percentage of people that got wrecked and are like, there is something here that's legitimate, and I'm going to figure out what it is. And that's where they end up finding Bitcoin. And that's usually at the point where they start to go up that curve.
Yeah, so I came from the other. I've said this before, but I've come from the other side of kind of being ultra skeptic to Well, I think all of it's nonsense. Like, there's no scarcity. Like, it would be good if there was, and then my friend's like, okay, there's independently verifiable scarcity. I'm like, oh, that makes it slightly interesting. Okay, let's have a look. But you have to, but that's coming from, I don't know, like, not to kind of blow my own trumpet, but that's a relatively like smart angle of it's all nonsense to then and understand the kind of importance of scarcity. I wasn't a gold bug, but it's like I was buying, I had to fucking pennies in index funds, thinking this is nonsense. Yeah, but everyone's looking for scarcity. I think even those that don't realize that's what they're looking for.
Oh, 100%. Whether it's in real estate, gold, or whatever it is, people are just kind of looking for that. And I think, obviously Bitcoin has the lowest barrier to entry, a lot to learn about. And, I think like you could get into Bitcoin for as little as like, I think 50 cents now on some of these on-ramps. So, I mean, what's kind of stopping you at this point? There should be nothing.
You could get into Bitcoin technically for free. You could just install one of those apps like Fold and just spin the wheel every day. Or you could even Thunder
like,
Games. You could install Thunder Games and accumulate Satoshis.
Carrot, the Bitcoin magazine app or something,
right?
You can get paid 5 sats for reading each article.
Exactly. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, and of course there's like the cashback stuff.
I came across, I can't remember the link now, but there's some link that's like accruing all of these different ones of how you can like earn Bitcoin doing various like little things, like usually attention based tasks, that sort of thing.
I'm gonna try to find that. We are gonna move on over to REKT. REKT is brought to you by Represent. Check them out, representltd.com. That's right. You got Walton sporting the black t-shirt with the crest. I've got the, I don't know, it's some kind of a beige, and you can take a look. It's the decentralized ops. Very, very nice. Excellent quality clothes. Buy a Bitcoiner for Bitcoiners. Use the pleb-underground code for 10% off at representltd.com. Walton now showing the hoodie. Very nice. Check them out. Representltd.com. If you haven't been paying attention to the news, which I'd be very surprised that Bitcoiners aren't, Jamie Dimon had some choice words at the World Economic Forum about Bitcoin. So let's dive into it. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon says Bitcoin is a hyped up fraud and cryptocurrencies are a waste of time, but blockchain is a deployable technology. Well, we're not even going to go into this. We're just going to finish the article because already in the initial statement, you know that obviously he wants something that he can control. And that's why they think this slow database technology is somehow useful to them. But it's not. They're never going to use this shit. Anyways, CEO Jamie Dimon still isn't a believer. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland on Thursday, Dimon bashed cryptocurrencies as a distraction. I think all that's been a waste of time and why you guys waste any breath on it is totally beyond me, he told CNBC. Bitcoin itself is a hyped up fraud. It's a pet rock. This isn't the first time Dimon has expressed his doubts about cryptocurrencies or used a pet rock analogy to describe digital assets. The CEO has described Bitcoin as a fraud since 2017. CNBC anchor Joe Kernan pushed back on Dimon's claims that Bitcoin is a fraud on Thursday, arguing that cryptocurrency is a store of value that is immutable and scarce, noting its protocol indicates that there will only ever be 21 million coins. Totally untrue. How do you know it's going to stop at 21 million? Maybe it's going to get to 21 million and Satoshi's picture is going to come up and laugh at you all. Dimon and JP Morgan have leaned into blockchain technology since 2017 when the bank was one of 86 firms that helped create an open source blockchain initiative called the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. Yeah, that's right. The Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. And as Dimon mentioned above, the company uses its own cryptocurrency, the JPM coin, to carry out intraday repurchase agreements. But on Thursday, Dimon noted that the financial industry has been talking about using blockchain technology for 12 years at this point, and very little has been done. Before we discuss this, I just want to remind everyone, Consensus raised $65 million from JP Morgan, MasterCard, UBS to build infrastructure for DeFi. So just remember, as Jamie Dimon shits on the one thing in this space that is real, okay, he is part of the infrastructure and part of the money. JP Morgan is part of the money that is setting up the ecosystem to fleece you on shitcoins that will never be worth anything. Okay. Think of them as the casino. Think of them as the house. And when you gamble long enough over time, the house always wins. Okay. And that to me is exactly what this is. He's completely disingenuous. It's just absolutely, it's completely sickening. And the fact that people take him seriously is really, really of concern when it comes to Bitcoin. Because clearly he's got his hand in the shitcoin cookie jar. I mean, are you kidding me? MetaMask, Infura, Consensus, all of this is JP Morgan. Ethereum is a fucking JP Morgan coin. Anyways, I'm sorry. First we'll go to Brandon.
Just a brief comment. He makes a joke about the 20. There's no cap on the 21 million, and Satoshi's gonna laugh in our faces. Meanwhile, him and his politician buddies pretend there's a cap on the 31 trillion, but there isn't, and they're laughing in your faces. So fucking nonsense.
Well, I mean, yeah, you guys said it all, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. They're sponsoring these DeFi protocols, but they're really just dinos, right? Decentralized in name only. And it's all of these guys that they're going back to the original system. I mean, guys like Jamie Dimon and all these guys, they're not idiots, right? They're paid to not quote unquote understand Bitcoin, when honestly I think they really do understand it, or they've had paid somebody to do enough research on it where they know, like, hey, if this thing works, we're fucked. So essentially they're just like, hey, we're going to prop up these other systems, we're going to prop up the original fiat system, and then just call it crypto or DeFi or whatever they want to call it, put some marketing dollars behind it, and so they can still profit on it. I mean, it's all like the same kind of scam that they're trying to run you into, and they're just gonna call it something, call it DeFi, and they're gonna claim it's DeFi, but really it's just centralized finance like it is right now. I even saw some article that they were promoting CDeFi, where it was centralized decentralized finance. It's like literally literally contradicting itself within its name. And so it's like all of these fucking guys, they all know what they're doing, and they're just trying to, like Walton said, they all got the hand in the cookie jar, and they're like, we're gonna keep reaching in there until we get caught. Bitcoiners are the only ones that are kind of waking up to this fact, and thank God for Bitcoin, because without it, maybe we'd all still be kind of running in this matrix and just realizing how, something's wrong, but I don't know a solution. But, at this point, it's like Jamie Dimon, he's just paid money, and really good money, to not really understand Bitcoin. So he's going to keep digging his heels in. It's just like Peter Schiff and all these same guys, right? They basically got in behind this. Hey, Bitcoin sucks. Maybe they're even stacking it like behind everything, but they're just trying to, mark it up some other bullshit thing that they come up with, and they're going to keep the little guy down. I mean, that's just like full stop right there.
We did an episode about a month ago, and that was part of our fail, was essentially how deeply ingrained is JP Morgan and overall Wall Street in shitcoins. We'll link it in the show. But it's, to your point, I mean, look, these guys, they are the gatekeepers, and if you think for a second that they're actually looking out for your best interest, you are wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Okay. Because their best interest is not yours. It's completely different. Anyways, speaking of which, we're going to move on to the next fail, as if we kind of did tell you so. We actually did an episode on how Nexo was going to fail. Kind of surprised, right? Kind of shocked that it failed. I can't even say it with a straight face. And we even did different clips explaining how strange it was that all of these other lending platforms are failing, and yet this one is impervious to harm. Somehow they're like a superhero dodging all the bullets. Not quite, because it's all part of the same shitty ecosystem.
Wait, but they signaled it, Phil. They signaled it. Nexo,
right?
Of course, in bits, right? O and 1. O is off, yeah? So Nexo, so they're saying they're the next one to turn off. Like, they called it. They called it. Well done, guys.
I totally agree. So here we go, guys. They got stuck having to pay $45 million to settle US SEC charges. So let's dive into this very quickly. Nexo settled the charges on a no admit, no deny basis, agreeing to pay half of the US $45 million to the SEC and the other half to a group of states that sued the crypto lender. Nexo agreed to stop offering its Earn program to investors in the US and started phasing out the product in December. We're confident that a clear regulatory landscape will emerge soon, and companies like Nexo will be able to offer value-creating products in the United States in a compliant manner. The shitcoin lender said the settlement closes all multi-year long inquiries into Nexo, and that the company will keep upholding the highest compliance standards. Okay, so let's just call bullshit where it is. Okay, doing something that is sketchy, then getting busted for it, and then apologizing, that's not upholding any type of high quality standards. I'm very sorry. Like that's not compliance at all.
Yeah, that's just
that's not how that works,
though, isn't it? That's
yeah, exactly.
Politician kind of stuff.
It sure is. It absolutely is. And I just want to make a prediction because I saw
Peter
this
McCormack type stuff. Like
yeah,
that's oh, I've got a shitty like custodial sponsor. Oh, Matt Odell's gonna call me out in it. Oh, I'll then run more ads for more custodial service. Like, some people don't learn, some people don't understand irony. Some people have no morals.
Walton,
it's disgusting.
He's not responsible.
Pleb Underground will never have a custodial sponsor, nor will we have a money changer as a sponsor. Integrity over popularity, integrity over taking some of that dirty fiat money. Like, you guys do you, but shame on you.
The other piece to this, sorry, before we go to you, Brandon, the other piece to this is this, right? I just want to make a prediction because I did see this happen in 2018 with companies like USI Tech that were involved, that were quote unquote providing crypto packages. And when they got busted in the States, they also did the same thing where they had to stop offering their program in the US. You should go check to see where they are now. So just be careful. Even if you're not in the US and you're doing and you're involved in Nexo, you kind of should be careful because more than likely that whole entire product is going away. And you know what? A big shout out to Flacco because we had him on as a guest, and long before that, several months ago, probably 6 months ago, he was like, Phil, he's like, you're gonna want to watch out for Nexo. Brandon, what are your thoughts on Nexo?
It's like
Were you involved in any of these yield platforms?
No, I mean, no. So I did have a BlockFi credit card where essentially I would just use it, get like the 1.5%.
To get the money back, yeah.
Yeah, get the money back and whatever, get it in Bitcoin. But I mean, honestly, like I can see how people get caught up in it, especially like in the shitcoin thing. They think, oh, this, I don't know. It's just essentially like we've been talking about this whole time. It's a big marketing scam where people are saying, hey, Alex Mashinsky, these people like require like the whole world deserves 7.5%. It's like that just doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, where does this yield come from? And then even like some of the people that I would talk to that would get involved in these things, they would say like, oh, it's just like a company dividend. Well, it's like, well, the company makes money. What does this blockchain do? And a lot of people kind of get behind all these different, I guess, blockchain technologies, how they can just issue more coins and all of a sudden it's going to be worth more. I mean, I just think like people just get wrapped up in like, hey, my bank account is sitting here and I have a quote unquote high yield savings account that gives me 0.5% over the entire year. And they see the numbers that we brought up at the beginning where, shit's going up 80%. Food's going up 80%. All their bills around them are going 80%. So honestly, like I think like these guys are scammers that are creating these, but I really feel for the people that kind of got into this because they're just trying to find a way, at least from my perspective, they're trying to find a way to make more money because what they're doing in their 9 to 5 waiting for a year to get a raise, doing all that kind of stuff is just not working, especially in the environment that we're in right now, where it's just, you see people kind of FOMOing into these bullshit crypto tokens. You're like, hey, maybe that could be me, so I can get away from all this thing. And, 1 month I feel fine, and the next month I start worrying about my expenses and if I could put food on the table. So, I think like it's shitty, like Celsius, BlockFi, all these companies that offered yield with essentially nothing backing it. But I think like they were just preying on basically the environment that we're in, where all these people are just seeing, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And so the poor guy, you market to the poor guy, say, hey, you get in this, you unbank yourself. This is how you're going to do all these, like whatever all these, exchanges used to market to these little guys. They bought into it because they're like, fuck it, I'm tired of being poor and feeling more and more broke and getting a 50-cent raise to my hourly job and having to work overtime, or, having to drive Uber on the weekends just to put food on the table, when I could just put my money in this Nexo, Celsius, BlockFi and get some yield back and not have to do anything. So, I think like I do feel for those people, and I think like the maxis are right, don't get anything. But I think at the end of the day, it's because of the environment that people are in. And that's where I really feel for some of those people. Hopefully they learn now and this brings them towards Bitcoin. But I think like that was kind of the main reason why a lot of people got into those shitty yield platforms.
I think that you hit the nail on the head explaining the piece about that they're preying on the environment specifically. I couldn't lie if I didn't see it 1,000 times, right? I saw people back in 2018 in stuff like BitConnect, right? Where clearly if you did math for like 2 minutes, and like, trust me, like I suck at math, like advanced math and stuff like that. Like I'm completely lost, but BitConnect was such a scam that the most basic math, you could figure it out in less than 2 minutes, that it was physically impossible for them to continue to pay you. It's not possible. Like you can't, like there's no business that can do this. Like you can't just make money out of thin air, even though people are pretending that they can. So they do prey, unfortunately, on people who are desperate, people who are incredibly hopeful, and unfortunately,
and people who can't do math.
And people can't do math. And unfortunately, the people who get in early enough, right? And you can never guarantee that that's you, but those people really do end up reaping rewards. But the problem is that those rewards are completely unsustainable. And I saw people who thought that they were going to be making a living off of these earn platforms, thinking that they're just going to get a paycheck every week. Where do you think that's
people
coming
who thought
from?
they could run their Aston Martin off these platforms?
Well, I saw some people
way.
that would they would borrow stable coins or get like a stable coin loan, and then their stable coins were giving them, I don't know, 8 to 12%, and they would buy these giant mansions, and this is how they would.
I saw that clip. I saw that. It was like some like Zoomer TikTok nonsense,
Yes.
right? They're like, hey, and then you put like, you buy the house, and then you take a HELOC out on your house, and then you buy the shit coins, and then you put the shit coins in the yield platform, and then with the money from the yield, you pay your mortgage, and you got like a bunch of money to spend on hookers and blow. And it's like, really?
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, like, and it's like, honestly, if it's like an 18-year-old, a 19, 20-year-old kid that's kind of like first figuring this stuff out, and like, hey, maybe they got lucky, they got into Bitcoin or one of these shit coins at some point in time, they made a big percentage, right? Maybe they made 1,000% on whatever their initial investment is. They think they're a fucking genius, and they're like, all right, well, all these companies are offering this looks good, and it's like you're just a young dumb kid. Or like, like I was saying kind of earlier, it's like somebody who's just trying to get out of the matrix, and they think like this is the way. And then this billionaire guy's like, oh, like, look at me, I'm the savior, let me come and help you out, like, young little dumb idiot who I'm gonna just steal all your money and lock it away. And I mean, I really feel for those people, but I don't know, I guess you take your own risks and whatever. And like these the SEC and all these other, you know, corporations, 3-letter indices let this happen. And you know, unfortunately, it's probably going to make like some of these Bitcoin companies that we have that are just like actually truly trying to help people. It's going to put a lot of regulation on them and maybe handcuff them in the short term. So, you know, I think like, yeah, it's definitely a huge negative, and these guys are fucking assholes for doing what they did. And I hope to see never see another yield platform. But I mean, if you're watching this and you see an exchange that creates their own token or offers yield, fucking run, get away from that one. Don't even touch it with a 10-foot pole. And you know, get your Bitcoin off exchanges and put it in cold storage. It's the best advice I think.
Yeah, not your keys, not your coins, and don't use shit coins or go for yield or you'll get fucked in the ass. You heard it here first.
Awesome advice. Awesome advice. Okay, final story on REKT. You knew that this was happening. You knew that this was coming. Walton's going to cover a little bit more of this in the Hopium. Let's take a look at this quickly and have a talk about this. Genesis files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy as the Winklevi threaten DCG lawsuit. Genesis Global announced it voluntarily filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy voluntarily, along with its crypto lending arm Genesis Global Capital and lending unit Genesis Asia Pacific. In a press release, Genesis used every buzzword it could think of to frame the move in a positive light. Genesis initiates process to achieve global resolution to maximize value for all clients and stakeholders and strengthen its business for the future. I think we all kind of were waiting for this to happen. At this point, though, what's really happening is that DCG, which is the parent company of all of this stuff, they owe about $900 million to Gemini Earn customers. And while these Gemini Earn customers are completely hosed, these rich people are arguing about who owes what when. And it's just kind of ironic because, or I shouldn't even say it's ironic, but it's just kind of funny because the whole entire landscape is falling apart around them and nobody wants to fess up. Nobody wants to pay. So if you were doing business legitimately, you would have the money there to pay for your customers. You would have the money there. Your customers wouldn't have to have payouts frozen. So these platforms, they've frozen payouts. Okay. They've locked people out of their money. You've got these two massive companies that are arguing with each other. And yet for some reason, this is allowed to go on. This is considered perfectly like, that's fine. You know, it's just falling apart. It's all good. We're going to restructure when the dust settles. I got to tell you, all I've seen so far is that these earn programs have infected every single platform that they touch. This has been my takeaway. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how great your financials are. Somehow, these types of platforms just completely destroy the legitimacy of your platform. And I'm saying somehow, and I'm saying it kind of facetiously because the reality is it's not a mystery. Okay. The reason is that my personal opinion is that they're creating these platforms so that they can fuck with your money. Plain and simple. Like they want to fuck with your money. They want to do it in a way that you're not going to ask any questions. And this is amazing because as long as you keep seeing on your screen number go up, you don't ask any questions. You don't start to pull out. You don't think anything. You just keep saying, hey, I'm making money off my money.
Until they Bankman-Fried made off with your money. Wait, how does it go?
All of them? Wait. They kind of both did the same thing in a different way, but I'd say that Bernie was a little classier.
No, of course, it's until they made off with your money. But like, of course, Sam Bankman-Fried is the one that apparently they might know because clearly they don't know about Madoff or they wouldn't be doing this kind of stuff. Like, if you're putting your money with some platform, the idea of you're getting some returns that are kind of magically coming out of somewhere. Well, that's nonsense. And if you're depositing it with someone and you have confidence in their ability to get you that return, well, then that's a security basically. You go look up the Howey test. It passes it. Like So yeah. So be careful. Like therefore, you need to really be. If you're going to do it, you'd have to do it with a highly registered institution. And who was more registered than Gemini? I don't think anyone was. And so the point is because it's all one degree of separation, right? They lent the money to Barry, who then just lent it to all the degenerates, and so there's. I mean, they're all degenerates, right? Like all of these people, because again, they believe that yield can kind of magically come from somewhere. Like if you're investing in small companies that are growing, you can have real yield, right? There is a kind of real concept of yield on equity, right?
Well, yeah, because the company earns money.
Right,
they actually earn money.
It's actually doing more work. It's doing more work. It's providing more value to the world. And in exchange, there is more money coming in. But in finance, if it's just what's the expression? Like it's musical chairs. Like you have to recognize how much of this is just musical chairs. There's no work being done. There's no value being provided to any external party. And so you really, you should be questioning all of it.
It's financial activity for the sake of it. Sorry, Brandon.
Fuck all of that and, self-custody because, not your keys, not your coins. You can't fuck with me if it's in self-custody.
Well, I think we're beating around the bush here. It's all a Ponzi scheme, right? I mean, you're depositing clients' money into this platform that's offering yield. They're paying out as people are trading, basically they're risking your own clients' funds, whether that's, Bitcoin or some other shit coin. They're risking that. They're trying to trade it. And then they're saying like, hey, I can guarantee that I'm going to get 7% on Bitcoin. I can guarantee Ethereum, I can get 10%. Yeah. And then when shit hits the fan and it's in a bear market and it's like, kind of like, oh, fuck, instead of, it shooting up 30%, it's shooting down 60%. They get wrecked, which is what's happened to all of these damn lending platforms. Is every single one is taking whatever you put on that platform and putting it at risk, whether they're lending it to somebody who, obviously doesn't know what the hell they're doing and buying some mansion and using a HELOC to YOLO into some other shit coin. They're making it so it's very unregulated, very unlike, hey, we're gonna do all this shit with your coins and just promise you, heaven, basically. It's gonna be this glorified place. You're gonna be rich. You can just deposit all this shit with us and you'll be on a beach somewhere in a year. Just give it to you. And I do know people that were living off of that yield. And it is really unfortunate because now they're either screwed or they had to figure it out and get another job where it's like, now they have X amount of dollars or Bitcoin or whatever locked away in these platforms. So, I think like just risking it with all these things that we saw it exactly what we're saying, Ponzi scheme, shit hit the fan when it comes to a bear market. And we're just seeing like, luckily we're seeing Bitcoin companies kind of thrive in this environment. We're seeing a lot of them start to hire and everything like that. And ones that actually seem to have, good graces and good leadership and everything like that seem to be prospering and not really having much change of business when it comes to bear or bull market. Whereas like these shitcoin casinos, it's exactly that. It's a casino. And, like you said, at the end of the day, you risk it enough, the house is going to win. Well, here's the house winning.
All right. We are going to move on over to the Hopium.
Up next, we have the Hopium, sponsored by CryptoCloaks. CryptoCloaks are a Bitcoin-only brand with a whole range of goodies. Here you see the Honey Badger, which has a very secret compartment in which you can keep your FUD dice or perhaps even a signing device. Up next, we have the Hodler helmet in Bitcoin orange, of course. If you buy this item, you will contribute to the fight against evil over at defendingbtc.com. If you use the code PlebUnderground, you get 5% off all goodies over at cryptocloaks.com or cryptocloaks.co.uk. Check them out. So, guys, for this week's Hopium, we have two stories. One actually is the kind of the same story as one that Phil had in REKT. The idea that Genesis is blowing up, and you might think, well, why is that Hopium? Let me show you. So Genesis wasn't the first, and it will not be the last firm to blow up, because they're all incestuous. They're all lending to each other. You can see a bunch of Barry's firms dotted around here. You see FTX and Alameda over here, BlockFi, Digital Currency Group, of course, Barry's, Three Arrows Capital, who blew up Genesis, a bunch of hedge funds. Oh, look, it's the Democrat Party with SBF, and of course the SEC's up here, and what they don't show is that $4.5 billion loan that I think I referenced last week that came from the Fed to Silverbank, I believe, who are part of Barry's group. And the Fed they worry about crypto contagion, but then they do that sort of lending. Bizarre. Anyway, here, all this incestuous lending, everyone blowing up, and more to come. How could this possibly be a good thing? Well, the answer, guys, is because it's like a forest fire. In order for Bitcoin to moon, which is what you want, right? What we need is for the good people to have Bitcoin, and for the cunts to not have so much Bitcoin. It's frankly, it's disgusting, kind of what's been going on, and all of the kind of leverage games that get played, eventually the music stops, and someone loses out, right? And make sure it's not you. Let's keep watching the shitcoiners burn. Let's watch what the price of Bitcoin fall. Let's keep stacking, and then at some point there will be a liquidity squeeze. There will be a short squeeze, a dry up of Bitcoin on exchanges, because all of these shitcoiners, irresponsible borrowers have blown up, and Bitcoin is being accrued by people who are generating real value sustainably in the real world, and building, businesses, families, communities.
Yeah, I mean, exactly like you said, right? So it's all these people who are lending, giving yield on bullshit that doesn't really exist. But I also think like another background of this is like you're getting rid of the bad actors who are issuing a lot of paper Bitcoin, right? So it's evident from all of them failing that they weren't really purchasing Bitcoin with the money that you were depositing into these, exchanges, accounts, what have you. And that might have like suppressed the price in the last bull run, in my opinion. It's like, all right, well, we were having the chart experts, whatever you want to, we were making fun of them a little bit earlier, but I mean, like, they were all predicting 6-figure Bitcoin and all that, all the buzzwords and what have you. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you just look back at the last bull run, how many bad actors were in there issuing quote unquote Bitcoin that really didn't exist because you couldn't pull it out? And then when everybody kind of went to that bum rush and tried to pull it out, it wasn't there. So
there's still a few traditional finance companies doing that sort of thing. Revolut, which is a European one, it's like kind of closed system Bitcoin where you can only kind of buy and sell within their app. You can't do any withdrawals. So actually, yeah, it's just paper Bitcoin being sold, and paper Bitcoin is certainly a shitcoin.
Oh, 100%, right? I mean, we've said it like multiple times in this podcast. It's like, not your keys, not your coins. I don't think we can hammer that point home enough. And I think that's, this is kind of the hopium behind all this, is that, a lot of the bad actors that are issuing the paper Bitcoin, they're getting a lot of publicity, and the fact that it's like, all right, if you're still in Bitcoin at this point and you haven't pulled your Bitcoin off of exchanges, like, what the fuck are you doing? But it's also pushed a lot of Bitcoiners to kind of learn that way and kind of, learn it. Hey, I don't need the yield on my Bitcoin. Where is this yield coming from? And it gives, I guess the plebs a little bit more room to just question everything that's going on in a lot of these companies. So I think, you know, to your point, there is hopium because even though these guys failed and some people got screwed, it's making more Bitcoin maxis, and it's making people realize like, hey, when I put my money with these companies, like I need to verify that it's actually buying Bitcoin. It's actually doing what they say it's doing.
And the only way you can verify that, of course, is by withdrawing your, you know, your UTXOs, and having the keys to the wallet that contains those addresses for those UTXOs.
I feel like we were looking at a Rube Goldberg machine. When you had that chart up, I'm like, I started off at the, you know, the upper left hand side, started off at the SEC, and just started my way down. I'm like
I tried to kind of show it in any sort of logical order. I'm like, no, it's just a wash of shitcoinery and nonsense. Like you know, you can. There's no point. At the end of the day, yeah, they're all incestuous. They're all inbred. And they all have webbed feet. So yeah, guys, don't shitcoin, even if it makes you a better swimmer.
I think this kind of goes back to Brandon. Was it you that mentioned the TikTok video with the yeah, like literally, yeah. I feel like that's what, like, the banking system is literally that kid. Like that whole entire, forget about the banking system, but in terms of this whole debacle or debacle with FTX and Genesis and DCG, I feel like it's that kid. Like that's literally what they were doing. It's the exact same thing, except he was doing it on a much smaller scale, just trying to be like a little mini baller. You know? Like they're just doing it on a much bigger scale with way more people's money. And of course, you know, we're living through the fallout. And I just want to add, as we're having this conversation about everything falling apart, Bitcoin just broke 22K. I had to mention it. As we're sitting here talking, not that anybody cares, right? Because fiat exchange is garbage, but we care about the life, and Bitcoin is showing some life, huh?
The green candle pump.
That's right. Green candle with green candle on the show.
There
a
we
massive
go.
1K candle right now. Anyways, sorry, Walton. Sorry.
I kind of like the price to go down a bit. Like again, like I've got a tax bill to pay, and I can't buy Bitcoin right now. I need to wait like a couple of weeks. Like guys, can you make sure that this? I mean, I think we all know this, but can you make sure that this is just a bull trap? Thank you.
We need Hodl to put out the we're never going to see 20K again. Once he puts out that tweet, like, it's done.
We're never going to see 10K again, or 15. I'd like to see 15K. That would be nice. 15K. Let's go back to 15K. Anyway, so I have one more tweet for the Hopium, and actually very rarely, it's not really a price prediction, but I guess it's the closest thing you'll see to a price prediction. From me here, some guy saying that I see a decent chance that Bitcoin hits a new all-time high this year. And you might think, who is this John Brown? I don't know. Why is Walton sharing this kind of pretty bland tweet? Like it looks a bit shit. Like what is this nonsense? Why did I share this? Adam backlight this tweet. Adam Back likes this tweet.
That's our metric.
That's it. So this is Hopium because Adam Back thinks there's going to be a new all-time high this year. That's what I'm inferring from that like of this random guy's tweet on Twitter. Adam Back thinks there's going to be an all-time high this year. You heard it here first. Book it.
Walton's like all those like newscasters or whatever, like sources are saying Adam Back thinks that we're gonna have a new all-time high. That's what he's going off of. It's like this Twitter life.
I think it's good enough. It's good enough.
I mean,
I was sold on that too. There we go. I'll take it.
Don't get me wrong, but like we have a very sophisticated, in-depth method of how we validate all of our sources, and
yeah. Also, it's fucking January, guys. Like, don't be so bearish. Like, let's go down to 15K, and then let's go to like I don't know 90K, and then we're gonna go back down to 30K, and then we're gonna it's gonna be a wild ride. Like you've seen the roller coaster meme. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, of course. I love that. I love that gift in both ways too. It always makes me laugh seeing the little Bitcoin roller coaster just going up and down.
Okay, so hold on a second. So hold on. Have you seen, because there's a few different GIFs or GIFs or however the hell you want to pronounce it, but there's one where you can't tell. I think it's the one made by Marcus Connor. It's where you can't tell whether it's going up
Is it
or
going
down.
up or down? Yeah.
It just it looks like, because oh no, not even that one. He's like just on an angle and his arms are flapping and you can't tell if they're flapping while he's going down or flapping while it's going up. It's fantastic. That's like, that to me is the best Bitcoin roller coaster meme.
Yeah. We gotta add that here. Just have it just floating across here or something.
I try to use it for thumbnails as often as possible. I love his graphic, and I always take it and I'll throw it in there somewhere in the back. You'll see the little Bitcoiner guy on the roller coaster screaming.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
look, it's good times. But
Guys, at
I'm
the
sorry,
end of the
Walton.
day, yeah, I haven't really shared much in this week's Hopium. Like, it's some relative, you know, we talked about the forest fire. We said that Satoshi thinks that we're going to an all-time high this year. Like, we talked about a couple things, but I don't know. I feel fucking bullish. Like, even though I want the price to go down, I feel fucking bullish. And again, it's not just about the fiat exchange rate. This is about the tools that we have in Bitcoin are better than they've ever been. Like, shout out Nunchuck, who are doing some fucking cool stuff with NFC multi-sig, which I think is going to be the future for normies being able to use, you know, secure self-custody, NFC mobile first multi-sig. I think is going to be revolutionary. You know, we have so many great independent Bitcoiners building a whole bunch of cool different things. You have, you know, obviously Pleb Media, you know, the part that's not getting bought out by exchanges. You know, you have these different initiatives. You know, you see the beef initiative, you see similar things happening in different countries on that sort of thing, people trying to kind of create these Bitcoin circular economies. If you want, you know, to the businesses that you patron to survive, you need to orange pill them and get them to start accepting your Bitcoin, because that's where you want to spend your money. And for those, you know, for the ones that's you wouldn't give them Bitcoin, then maybe they're not such a great business. Maybe you shouldn't be spending any fiat there, to be honest.
I've got,
consider your purchases, orange pill the people that need to learn about Bitcoin. The people actually providing, you know, real value in the real world that you want to exchange your real value for, and keep learning about these cool tools, because I think, yeah, they're getting better and better and better. I'm very excited, very, very excited. I don't give a fuck what the price does this year. The exchange rate, I don't care. Yeah, Bitcoin, the Bitcoin communities, Bitcoiners, I'm fucking bullish.
Oh,
how
I
dare you imply there's a community?
I said communities.
I know, but that means there's more than one community.
Like if you think there's one community, then you don't know how to draw a Venn diagram, yo.
Yeah. Well, you haven't been on Bitcoin Twitter then. You know, we got rivalries all over the place.
All
right?
over the, nobody agrees.
Yeah, you must be like
exactly.
blind to religion if you believe that's true on Bitcoin Twitter.
Okay,
Yeah.
wait. Speaking of Bitcoin Twitter, we're gonna go back to some more degen version of Hopium.
Wait, are you showing me some D to TA right now?
No D to TA. But
No.
but okay, how about this? Did you guys hear this? That the whole entire cycle we just went through was a shitcoin pump cycle because of the yield programs and all of this, so that the Bitcoin
It got suppressed,
actual
yeah.
pump cycle never actually took place,
Yeah.
so that we may actually be in a super cycle. Again, I take it for what it's worth. It's amazing Hopium. It's amazing. I love it. Okay, I'm not gonna lie.
The idea that this one got suppressed basically by all the paper Bitcoin FTX bullshit and that sort of stuff, and so then the next one is exaggerated because this one just kind of coiled further, and then there's these forest fires to happen.
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't know. I don't really believe in like the super cycle like Hopium stuff. So it's
There is
hard.
only
but
one
it's not
cycle.
so good.
There is only one cycle. This 4-year cycle stuff is nonsense. The only, like, yes, there is a halving every 210,000 blocks, which is approximately every 4 years. And historically, the price has, you know, there has been some, you know, But do you guys believe Plan B? No, you don't. So like, let's calm this like cycle talk.
What were you
Yeah.
gonna say, Brandon?
Well, I mean, if you kind of like look at like economic activity, like big macro events that kind of happen around Bitcoin, they line up kind of around the halving time. So it's like a macro event happens and the market kind of goes through these little 4-year business cycles kind of things, which is like essentially just a non-exaggerated version of what Bitcoin has gone through, especially during this past, since inception. So, I mean, like, I don't believe in the super cycle or anything like that. And I just think like at this point, it's been fairly correlated with the market, as I believe fully that eventually it's going to get away from that. But, I don't know. It's hard for me to get behind that. I like Walton's
good,
a little
though.
bit more, where it's like Adam Back just liked a tweet and we're getting behind that. But I agree with him too. Like, I don't really like at this point, I think, when you first get into Bitcoin, I don't know. When I first got into it, I was obsessed. I was checking the price every single day.
Right.
I was like, and it was in a bull market. It's like people are getting hyped on Twitter. It was a lot of fun. But then it's like, all right, you get kind of used to these pumps and dumps and whatever, and you're just like, well, like, why am I freaking out when it dropped like 10% or whatever? Because I'm not selling it anyway. So, like, I don't know. So
You don't get excited. I get excited when it drops 10%. I get
Yeah, the DCA keeps churning though, so I mean that's
smash buy all the way. Let's go.
Yeah, I guess maybe I should get into that a little bit more, but that I just got the DCA churning at this point.
Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. All right, that wraps up the Hopium segment, and we are going to wrap up the show. But before we do, Brandon, how do people find you? Shill your stuff.
There we go. Yeah, at greencandleit on Twitter. I'm pretty active on there. That's the most active thing. But also, you check out the YouTube. I got the State of Bitcoin podcast. Check it out at wherever you get podcasts, and that comes out every Friday. And then the Macro Insights, which is more just like macro, real estate, just kind of overall economic kind of stuff, that drops every Monday. So yeah, check me out on all those platforms, and I'll be around too. Maybe hopping into some of y'all's Twitter spaces and everything like that as well.
Awesome. We love it. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to provide the links to all of that stuff in the show notes. And guys, don't forget to check us out on our audio-only platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. If you want to stream us sats, check us out on fountain.fm. You could stream us sats through Breeze. Walton, how do we end this off?
Fuck shitcoins.
That's right. Fuck shitcoins. Catch you all next time, guys.